Hey guys, it's Jacob here. Thanks for coming back this week. I really appreciate you guys being a part of my process, and thank you for all your support. One thing I'm planning to do next week is get me a clear wall space, and I'm putting up some post-it notes of all the people that have really helped me through this difficult time. It's I can't say that I haven't had ideations, but I know better now. I know that that's not me. That's my brain. My brain is working against me. So, why? What is it doing? Well, it's serotonin. I don't have enough serotonin in my brain. And it took me too long to realize that. I definitely have some traumatic events that have happened in my life that have probably scarred my brain and then also impacted, my serotonin levels. But why is that important? Serotonin regulates your well-being. It regulates your mood control. It regulates your need to eat and sleep. And what do you do when it doesn't show up? You don't. You don't get out of bed. You don't get food. You don't love yourself. And sometimes it kind of feels like we don't love the people around us. Sometimes we lash out at the people that love us the most. Not feeling understood or overwhelmed. We just don't feel loved. And low serotonin levels hurt everybody. But have hope, friends. These serotonin levels are the most important part of being your authentic self. And if you struggle with depression, anxiety, and or ADHD, and you need someone to talk to, please reach out. Without them, life seems dull and gray. For as long as I can remember, I've struggled with depression. My earliest cry for help was when I was a young kid. I remember holding a knife and just looking at my wrist and just thinking about how I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I was 7. I was 7 years old, and I didn't want to do it anymore. Was it for attention? I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking then, but I know I was low because I've been there before. And I keep feeling that feeling. I watched Power Rangers with my friend Carlos. Played Pokemon with Donnie. Traded Yu-Gi-Oh cards with Aaron. That's a 7-year-old's dream. Played video games. I had it. But several years later was probably the second hardest time of my life. We had moved to Wichita, Kansas when I was about 12. And I lost all my friends. I had such a close-knit friend group, and it was really devastating for me. And I wasn't too self-confident at that point in time. I didn't want to reach out myself. I didn't think too much of myself. I was a pretty much straight A student in elementary school. And then we moved. And a couple months later, my cat that I was super close to passed away. And I just felt so alone. The hardest part about moving was my parents' relationship was always on the rocks growing up. And the move only strained it more. We couldn't leave our pain in the past. We brought it with us. And that was difficult because when you don't have a support system and you bring that kind of sadness with you, you wallow. You sit with your brain. And then I started to struggle. I struggled in school. I was honestly kind of acting out. I didn't know how to get outside of myself again. I wasn't worthy. And I think that's really when the mindset started. I struggled to meet my parents' expectations on my grades, and I was just not doing anything that was conducive to my life, just instant gratification, and I just couldn't escape it. And then I hit puberty, and girls found me attractive, and I was finally getting attention I thought that I needed. Finally, this would be enough, right? No. Once the honeymoon phase kind of passed, in a lot of my relationships. My depression and self-esteem would start to rear its ugly head again. I'd often experience unfettered anger because I didn't know how to cope with the fact that people were not loving me or seeing me the way I wanted to be seen. And it was the kind of anger that no one feels good about. I was so angry at the other kids for all the things they had and all the friends and the opportunities and the connections that I felt got taken away from me. And I'm fortunate enough to still have a couple of friends from high school who stay in touch. One that I got to give a shout out to who has been instrumental in all this is Andrew. And I also want to give Ryan, Una, Britton, and Aurora a shout out. So, and there are more people that have been very, very important through this process. And I plan to give you guys all props and respect because I couldn't have done it without you. But moving on, when I didn't have my friends, when I felt like I didn't have anybody, I felt contempt. I didn't feel lovable. I didn't feel like anyone would accept me. I just didn't feel like I could fit in. Would I ever find the friends like I had back in Omaha? And so I threw myself into relationships, seeking validation and emotional fulfillment every chance I got. Maybe if someone else could love me, I could finally love myself. But what was love? How could I express love when I couldn't even feel it myself? For myself. This, with acting out, compounded my contempt for myself and others. I couldn't face the truth of the person I was and the things that I'd done in emotionally low times. I'd say hurtful things to others and do things that went against my basic principles. When you're fighting mental illness, you have to remember you are not your brain. My brain is damaged. It's abnormal. And at times, has the opposite of the best of my interest. And so I shielded myself from everyone. No one could have the truth about how I was feeling. And yet I felt no one could tell or care how I was really feeling. Why would they even care if they hadn't even noticed how much I was hurting now? Later in my adult life, my depression really expressed itself as anger and fear. Truly. So, no one could love me the way I wanted to be loved. But what was the way I wanted to be loved? I still didn't know. It wasn't fulfilling, no matter how genuine and how pure. People loved and cared about me, and I could have jumped into traffic any day and been okay with it. It kept escalating. I started to hate everyone and everything. No one mattered to me because I felt I didn't matter to them. Who kept telling you this? Myself. My brain. Soon I started to believe it in my heart. I didn't matter. Forever a difficult child struggling with attention issues, depression, and now anxiety. My actions while under the influence of low serotonin made me volatile. I would spitefully lash out at others for insignificant transgressions. It felt right, this anger. It felt safe because I could keep people from hurting me if I hurt them first. When I graduated high school, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was so busy trying to fill this empty hole. I later turned to drugs and alcohol because it felt good. This warm feeling held me whenever I chose to chase it. This was it. This was the feeling I was missing. Dead end again. Good job, Jacob. We have to talk about depression. Depression causes us to lie and to deceive or lash out at the ones we love because it tells us we don't deserve this love, or there must be something else going on. Why would this person love me? I'm unlovable. Are you seeing a trend here? I kept trusting my damaged brain to tell me my worth and to convince me that all those thoughts were true. Screw you, brain. I was always considered gifted growing up, but had no direction. I was bored easily and would fall into dopamine traps to find fulfillment, temporary and instant gratification. This was my portal to happiness. It only lasted until the next cycle of self-defeating thoughts. Without serotonin, we cannot regulate ourselves. We stop showing up as the person we want to be and start believing the negative self-talk. Our emotions cannot be regulated. Our need for self-care slips, and we sabotage our relationships because we don't love ourselves. That has to change. I'm ready to love myself again, to love my life. Don't let depression win. Don't let anger push away the ones you care about. Isolation is how depression wins. What if we flip the game and isolate depression? Isolate it for what it is. Fear of not feeling worthy. Fear of these thoughts being true, and fear we may never be happy or deserve happiness. You aren't alone. My friend, thank you for being here. We don't have to be silent. We can change, and we can get better. We have to do what we've been avoiding to do for so long and love ourselves. We are worthy, we are loved, and we make a difference. You don't want to die. You just don't want to feel this way anymore. Be here with me today so that we can have hope for tomorrow. Thank you for being a part of my process. Be sure to click on the like button and the subscribe. You can share this link with anybody you think it might resonate with. Depression has always taken joy from me, and I don't want to see it take joy from anyone else. So thank you guys for coming again, and I'll see you next week.